Hey everybody, my name is Rob Welch. I'm the instructor for English 123, it's composition 2, and I'd like to welcome everybody to the class. Every week I'll put out a video very much like this one, and basically what I want to do with it is use this time to highlight any pitfalls, any issues that I think might come up with the lessons that you're doing that week, with any of the work that you're being asked to accomplish. And I will also try to emphasize the lessons that are being stressed in that particular module. All right, so it's very straightforward. And one of my big objects is to keep this fairly short to make it useful for you. I know you don't need more stuff taking up more of your time. My first run through on this, the video ran about 15 minutes and I was like, okay. This has to be narrowed down some. All right, there's just no other way around it. This is going to be the short and sweet version. All right, so I just want to cover the things that have to get covered. The first thing is, since the class is just beginning, is that I want to make sure that you know how to get a hold of me. All right, so on the class, on Brightspace, you'll see a block on there that's labeled My Instructor. It has my email on it. It has my personal phone on it. So use them. All right, it's that simple. Probably the easiest and most direct thing that you can do is when you need to get a hold of me is just send me a text. All right, and I will get back to you. Now that text might getting back to you might mean that I text you right back if it's a simple, yes, no. It might mean emailing you with some detailed instructions, or it might mean setting up a conference. But any way you look at it, it's the easiest way to get things started. Alternately, of course, you can always email. All right, my email is there. It's an official SNHU email. So I check it regularly, and I will get back to you there. The third option is that on the class, as with all classes at the university, we have a general questions forum. And basically, you're always free to post on there. And this is particularly encouraged if you have a question that you think might impact other students, where other people might be asking the same thing. So if you've got a general question that, where you don't think that the answer is obvious from the course materials and that this is going to be problematic for a lot of people, go ahead and post it there. That's fine. And I will reply there. And that way everybody is clear on that issue. All right. That way you're not only answering your question, you're doing a service for the class. And, that's nice. All right. So English 122. This is English 122. English 123. It's a continuation of English 122. And most of you will have taken that because they are required courses at SNHU. So the class runs very much the same, and it does continue in the same vein that 122 does. So in 122, you're introduced to academic writing, and you're given a kind of, well, literally a crash course. All right. We continue that in 123, where we're looking to develop the same sort of argumentative writing that you do, that is, inherent in academic discourse. And basically, we want to fill it out a little bit. We want to make it a little more professional. And by professional, we mean increasing the the level of the writing and the level of the research that goes into the writing and documentation for that. Really, everything is set up in order to prepare you for doing the kind of work that you're going to be doing in all the rest of your classes through your college career. All right, so that's really it. So this week, I want to touch on the first of our assignments. And the first one of those is a discussion. All right, so discussion 1. What you're aiming to do there is you're going to introduce yourself. And I don't want to discount the importance of that and just say, just introduce yourself, because this really is something important. You're representing who you are to each other and to me, all right? And that might not seem like that's so essential, but you're going to run into a lot of the same people in a lot of your classes, and it will never hurt to start developing relationships that will help you in your education and in your life. So, you know, it's just a good step forward to make a good effort with that. Now, the second thing that you're doing is you're developing a really concise piece of writing. All right. Basically, what you're doing is you're going to talk about a time when you tried to persuade somebody of something. All right. That's it. It's very straightforward. It doesn't have to be an example of you, winning an argument. That's just when you were attempting to use argument to get your point across. So in the writing, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to create 2 paragraphs. And the paragraphs, essentially, in the first one, you set up the situation and explain the issue. And you explained how you went ahead and presented your argument. In the second paragraph, what you're supposed to do is actually think about what happened and offer some critiques on how it worked, why it didn't work, how it could have worked better. All right. So we've got essentially, you're talking about the problem as it occurred in the historical past, and then you're adding your insight to it to describe exactly what could have gone better or why it went so well. All right. So that's it. So I'd just like to note real quick that it's asking you to do this in a 2-paragraph structure. And I think that's important, all right, for you to recognize. The 2-paragraph structure is a structure, and it basically is telling your reader that, that you have thought out how this is going to be set up, that the 1 paragraph has a particular purpose to describe the scene, and the 2nd paragraph has a particular purpose to actually, show what's going on in your mind now. So we've got you as you were then and you as you are now. And that's pretty much the definition of demonstrating insight. And that's what this is all about, all right? Like all discussions for the class and for most classes at SNHU, the discussion has 2 parts. You're going to post this short writing as your initial post, and then that will be due by Thursday of week 1. And then that gives several days until Sunday, the end of the module, for everybody to read and respond to each other. And again, those responses, everybody's required to do 2 substantive responses. I am particularly interested in the substantive part of these responses, all right? So what does it take for me to think that you are presenting something substantive? All right, so the first thing you have to do is show that you have read what the other person says, all right? That you are comprehending. So, it's a classic, I hear what you're saying, and then you show that you hear what they're saying, and then you actually respond, all right? So in the response, you need to show how what they're saying impacts you, and therefore show your insight into what the other person, what happened with them, all right? That's it. The whole object on this is to promote real conversation, all right? Not just, we're not just running through the motions of good post. Yeah, I feel you. That's not what we're looking for. We want more. We want to show that this is, to encourage people to actually go back and forth with each other, all right? Now, we have a second assignment as well. And this one is a writing that comes directly to me. Now, let me just mention, your exercises in this class are done through MindEdge, all right? And what you should think of is MindEdge is sort of a workbook or a textbook. It is more like a workbook, really, because it has little exercises that it wants you to run through. But that's where your lessons will be read. That's where you'll do little exercises to get you prepped for the actual lessons. But in the bulk of cases, most of the turn-ins for the class will be done in Brightspace, all right? So keep that in mind. Again, the discussion will be posted on Brightspace, And then the second assignment, which is called 1-7 from, what was it? From issue to persuasion. Sorry, I trying to read my notes. This is another short piece of writing, and really in this one, this is the culmination of the exercises from Mind Edge. So once you get going, once you go through week 1 in Mind Edge, it will do several of the exercises are dealing with brainstorming for the first, well, not the first, for the major piece of writing that you will do for the milestone for this course. All right. It's kind of crazy a little bit to be choosing the subject for what you're going to write at the beginning, but these courses are very quick and very accelerated. So the only way to get to it is to, just to start doing it. So it's going to ask you to brainstorm on what you'd like to write about. In this class, what we particularly like you to write about is something that is applicable to you in your profession. All right. And by that, we regularly mean, maybe not what you're doing right now, but what you intend to do when you've completed your degree. All right. So basically, what you're going to write about is an issue that is problematic within that career field. All right. That's literally it. And what you need to think about this is in terms of problem and solution. All right. We're trying to identify an issue, something that is problematic, something that is can be argued. Basically, in order for it to be argued, there have to be multiple sides for the issue. So what we mean by that is there is a problem that everybody agrees on. All right. How to solve the problem is what is arguable, because people will have different solutions. And again, we can think of this in big terms on a national scale. If we think about, we all agree, I think, that immigration can be problematic. Whether we think it is at the moment or not is another thing. But what do we do about that to solve the problem? All right. There are probably an infinite number of answers to that, which means that is arguable. All right. And that's the kind of thing that we want to see. So for a lot of students, that's where things get to be an issue. All right. Where it gets to be difficult to actually discern. Because what they want to talk about is just the problem. So again, what I want you to think about is problem versus solution. All right. And so in this exercise, what you're supposed to do is talk about, you're going to develop 3 paragraphs. In the first paragraph, you're going to talk about a particular problem and talk around it and talk about why it's significant and why it needs to be solved. In the second paragraph, you're going to talk about a second problem. And again, this is just to show, your top 2 choices for things you might write about. The second problem, you're going to talk about it, why it's important to, the profession that you're looking at talking about. And then in the third paragraph, you're going to talk about which one are you actually thinking of writing about? Why? All right. Justify your answer. All right. So that's it. All right. I think I've gone less than 15 minutes. I hope so. I can just say the future videos will not be anything like that long. All right. Those are the exercises for the week. I think I've given an overview for, the things that I needed to touch on. If you want to get in touch with me, you need to get in touch with me, please do so. You know how, that's covered at the top of the video. All right. Until next week, adios.